That one. Number two, the government is to protect for the people, not to make money. Now, let's take this analogy into what's really happening in today. I was driving and looking at a store. That store sells like liquor, alcohol. We know that alcohol is causing liver cirrhosis, liver cancer, and a lot of trouble. The government legalize it, tax it, and openly destroy the society. And then, if you drink and drive, the government arrests you. How insane are we? Let this happen by the government, legalize it, and then destroy the society, and then punish the person who drinks. Second, smoking the same. Lung cancer, COPD, is destroying society. And we know now smoking is the leading cause of cardiovascular attributing and stress. And the government is watching population destroyed. Now, is the population supposed to sue the government? Or what are they supposed to do? Because this is insane. Now, let's go to the next level. AI is coming, very good, okay. But $1 billion is invested in the business for gaming. How to make a human behavior addicted to it. We know that alcohol addicting, smoking addicting, the government legalizes. Now, a lot of gaming are coming, which are addicting to the society and to children, and the government legalizes it. How do we be quiet as a conscious being? I couldn't sleep with it every day. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to obviously take a comprehensive look. That's why it's going to take more than 2 weeks probably. But I wanted to make it really appealing to people who are coming for simple things like I'm exhausted, I am really brain fog, I have overwhelm, I feel this distress. Yeah, I'm achieving a lot outwardly because of the tools are giving me a lot of productivity in terms of work goals and all that. But I also am stressed because I have to learn new things. I have to really be ahead of the game and spend a lot of time and energy on doing things. But I don't really have time or the ways how to take care of myself, how to take care of my being. You know, to Prasad's question, I'm going to take the discussion probably in the middle of the entire series about how we are really engulfed in the self-centered activity and really do not feel responsible to the planet, you know. And this is one of the chief lessons the ancient wisdom taught me, was to really, you got to shape your life and activities such a way that you are contributing the repletion of the resources of the earth. See, normally we think the resources are there for us to be used and involved in the rampant consumerism without really knowing the deeper consequence. That's why things have come to this extent where it's almost the globe can be extinguished and thus humans may not be here as we think we are. So that is a very, very important view of world view of what is my role in repletion, not depletion, but repletion of resources. What am I doing? Am I aware of the damage that is going on? Am I aware of the consequences for the humanity as a whole? That kind of thing, you know. So, Prasad, that will be dealt with deeply, because most of the people think I'm making my living, I'm having fun, I'm doing my family and all that. And also, like Dr. K was mentioning about the smoking, whatever they are doing to them, so they think personally they are doing to themselves. But people are not aware that we are all one human energy, and whatever we do personal also will affect the global thing too. So I'm going to bring that very important point in a particular talk that I talked about. What does it mean following repletion of not only us but other human beings too? How do we really elevate the awareness so that people function not once in a while or in a meeting, but in the daily life. What are the things that they are doing that are good for the planet, good for us, good for everybody? That kind of commonality we can bring in. But as long as people do not really see the falseness of the self-centered activity, they will be continuing to do that. Okay, that's the major thing. Think about it. How often do we lead every activity thinking, is this good for the common? Is it a common good? Or is it just for me? It will fill my coffers, that kind of thing. I mean, people are led to be educated, cultural factors, and all the rewards, everything, or people may not be able to survive unless they are involved in some self-centered activity. So we're not talking about that, but we are talking about cultural integral change where we are repleting our resources, thereby our repleting ourselves too. So that's how we are going to proceed. But then simple things like energy problems. Can we bring one energy problem that you see or you have solved, one energy problem that you address in daily life? Anybody can take it up and then start.
The one I observe, and
You are cut off, Dr. K. I can't hear you now. Can you hear him, Prasad? I could not hear him.
No, I couldn't hear him.
Yeah, he started and then it went off.
Yeah, some glitch, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
Wireless. Could you hear me well, Dr. Ram?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. But he was just started and then he kind of went off. Okay.
So since he's gone for a while, I guess you would come back. Shall we wait for a minute?
No, you go ahead. I will handle him when he comes back. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I see one thing constantly in the entrepreneurship world, uh, and also in general in any professional life. Entrepreneurs tend to have a belief system that their idea is brilliant and then they could survive somehow. But unfortunately, 95% of the ideas are failing because of various factors. So, the realization of the built-in system within ourselves need to be come to a concept of awareness that the idea could fail anytime, anywhere, sort of approach, so that the burnout feeling after the net result on the entrepreneurial approach won't hurt them psychologically and won't hurt their personal relationships, etc. Of course, financial situations as well. The other piece that I would touch upon is uh, many people want to play it safe. They know all the hanky-panky things going on in their work and they just ignore because of some insecurity feeling. If they open up and say something which is fair and that action could take care of the people around them for common good would be widely ignored because of the self-centeredness. And the other one is, there is a lot of less, I would say, let me rephrase, there is less interest in entrepreneurship in many companies because of this fear, the fear of failure. They may propose something and they go with a tendency of thinking that what if somebody wouldn't like that idea? What if somebody would mock them, mock him or her on the context that he want to propose for the betterment of the company per se, A, in terms of entrepreneurship development within the company, and B, entrepreneurship development at the same time. So there's a lot of disconnect over there. So people go silent on these things, and the problem on this context is they care more about their earnings rather than the common good that they could actually bring onto the table and safeguard everyone like a global citizen. So these two factors are very essential for entrepreneurs to steer their vision and also build the teams based on the principles of supporting and doing good to begin with, along with the technology. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. You are saying basically that selfishness and the corruption that goes with it, and then lack of really having incentives for being for the common good. Those are the problems you are seeing. Yeah, that is very true. Entrepreneurship now is going to mushroom in, I think, because the tools of the AI is going to really quadruple the productivity for those people who have adopted this. But there is a lot of concern about what if these tools get into bad people's hands. That's one thing is there. But if you really take the yeah.
Yeah, my wife called. I'm sorry interrupted. And my wife, her mom had a heart attack in Las Vegas, open heart surgery.
Yeah.
She's on a ventilator since January. She didn't call me because she's retaining CO2.
Oh boy.
They put her on track to vent. Then I told her when they gave her Xanax, she's not breathing. Her CO2 is going up, CO2 narcosis. I told her back up on the Xanax and up the ventilation. I'm sorry it took you time.
That's
so
okay.
I will continue after you take it.
Yeah. I'm just going to finish this. What Prasad was saying, I'm summarizing it. But generally, if you look at the development of a civilization, what we encouraged people were more like you do whatever works for you. You are here just to help yourself rather than helping everybody helps us. It doesn't seem to happen, but eventually everybody wants to be good and then do good for others and all that, but then somehow they get lost in the education, either by the family or by the schools and all that. Okay? So that's a major negative energy drain, Prasad, because if you take, for example, I'm very much oriented to the spiritual people who display these qualities, right? How come a monk in an ashram, he starts in the morning, gets up at 4 o'clock, and then continues to work whatever that is delegated to him through the day, through the night, up until late in the night, maybe 11 o'clock or so. And then he goes to sleep and he gets up in the morning and he does also. Okay. So that is where aiming for things outward to please us versus getting things that are already there inward, realizing them, makes a significant energy shift where you're going to be nurtured by your own inner energies and what says outward things and expecting them to fulfill your energy. Normal nutrition, air, and all those things will be okay. But how are you psychologically? How are you philosophically? How are you spiritually? Makes all the difference for your energy. I'm going to expand on that, okay, later on. Okay, Dr. K, go ahead and talk to me now.
Yeah, that is very good. If you tell us your best strategies on especially timing for sleep and so nutrition are very important. And one thing what we create, what I observe is negativity.
Yeah.
Negativity is a whole, I can say, whole planet. And then I say, what are you worried about tomorrow?
Yeah.
Why don't you just be in here today, in the present? Everything is fine. When the moment comes, you will deal about it. But everyone is struggling to be. I think you had presented last time about being in the present.
Yeah.
That was the key.
Yeah.
Because everyone, if he cannot be in the present, then I brought an analogy. A patient lives 85-year-old, but he never lives in a moment, the whole existence.
Yeah.
The future, in the past. Now he is dying and he asks God, give me 5 more years.
Yeah.
God says, why you need for? You never lived this 85 years.
That's true. Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, that is the key. There's another point I'm going to really come to, because saying that being the present is one thing, understanding why our mind goes to the past or to the future, and then being aware of that in the moment is another thing. That's where you got to understand the whole structure of thought and the role of awareness. How do you bring awareness to the front and use the thought in the back? But what is happening now is we are immersed in the past memories or future expectations or aspirations. Nothing there that you should not hope or dream or all of that. But don't go and live there. Plan for the future. But then when you are doing some stuff, live in the life, because that is really the life. Past is dead and future is not yet here. So what is here is that how do you get caught up in that thought world is something we will be exploring in the meditation section that I will be doing. So this is going to be like this. What Prasad said very nicely is what is really happening now, what he is seeing. So this kind of despair, this kind of I have to be secure in the future, I have to protect myself, that kind of thing makes people work very diligently for their own interests at the expense of everybody else sometimes. So that's what he was talking about. And that is the practical thing we are seeing. But do we have to continue something that's we see that's not right just because it is cultivated by generations? Okay. Like, for example, I know Prasad for a couple of years now, and if I see Prasad and then I have an image about himself, that means I have built up an image of Prasad in my mind, and I'm relating through that to him. On the other hand, if I don't have that kind of thing dominating and I'm really want to listen to him, what he has to say and what he is coming from, what he feels now, then I'm going to meet him here and now, not with my image. So all I have to do is just be intellectually, emotionally available in this moment, so that I can listen to Prasad. Not I have to tell anything. This is after all a dialogue where I'm going to come and say, hey, energy in entrepreneurship is important. Entrepreneurship is fine. We can improve the common riches, common amenities, and all those things we can improve. But what about internal things too? That's what we're going to look at. So where I'm coming from is how you can improve your understanding, throw light on things that are divisive, throw light on things that are negative, though, and then remove them and live intelligently in the moment. If you live the moment very well, the future will be taken care of. So that's why I always say I live in the present. I want everybody to be in the present. For example, somebody comes here to me and then says something very nasty, and then he has his own views. I have, but what my thing is, I got to see him for what he is as a human being compared to what he expressed. So the moment I kind of stay in the human being level, my mind is not reacting to his insult. That means I'm not accepting that insult. Or even if I accept it, if it is something true, I will change myself. Otherwise, I will let it go. Okay. But carrying that in our mind, feeling hurt, all those things happen because you are in the mind layer. There are so many layers I'm going to describe to you. So my thing is, how can we really be in the present, completely available to the moment? That is something that you need to understand why your mind goes to the back and negate it, and why your mind goes to the front and negate it. You can have the brainstorming session for a goal that you have, but when you are doing it, focus on the process, not on the goal. Then you will be able to do well with all energy focused on doing the process. And this is a big deal in Karma Yoga. I'm going to describe that and why people are really so energetic. The monks I described to you, they have complete energy because they are dedicated to something much above than their selfish needs. And they are really devoted to an energy that they believe as God, and they are serving the God in everybody. So, with that viewpoint, they are not asking anything to gain because they already realize what is rich in them. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So, this is not any particular religion, this is about human beings and how can you nurture your being, and that is neglected in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, people think only producing some products and some money, some statuses, and all those things, which are obviously not going to be permanent. They are going to be temporary and go away. But if you identify something permanent within you and then you are very satisfied with it, then you don't need outward things to be happy. That is the fundamental difference between the ancients and the modern people. So once you understand that, like I am an entrepreneur, I'm producing a lot of things with this artificial intelligence, but everything is what is called Siva Gnana Jiva Seva. That is the ancient principle. I'm going to bring it to everybody. That means there is life in all the living beings, and that life is itself is the God. And once you see that, and then you see that in everybody, not their personality of ego or some status, some expert level, all those things are below that level, right? They're all okay, but then if you can put them aside and relate to people at the fundamental level, there is no negativity, no feeling of otherness, and no feeling of separation. Once we have really touched that inner being, then all the negativities, everything will fall down. Okay, that's the depth we're going to take. It is not right away, but I'm going to not compromise of what I want to say. It doesn't have to be accepted by everyone. All I'm saying is inviting people to really look at it and think about it and then tell me about it. That is the dialogue. It's not like a one-way course and telling somebody you follow this. No, stimulating their thinking to elevate itself and then see something deeper than the superficial benefits that we look for. So one of the energy things I'm going to talk about is this inner satisfaction, inner joy, inner bliss that is given not with some instruction, not with some reading books, but examination of yourself by yourself. So you got to take a journey inward by yourself. And that depends upon how much time you have, how much interest you have, how much keenness of awareness you have. All those things are variable, but eventually everybody will come to that later. So let them be on their journey. But meanwhile, I am kind of coming and stating these things helps me to really share what I feel with my friends. That's what we're going to do. Okay. So energy at the level of physical, at the level of energy layer that we have inside, and at the level of breathing, at the level of thoughts, emotions, and at the level of knowledge, understanding, and at the level of our inner seeds, our genes, our inclinations, our tendencies, all those things, the seeds that give the rise to multitudes of thought or structure of thought. And then once you understand that, you will be able to, first of all, be present, be silent, and be tranquil and enjoy. Then whatever work you do, it will be like a service to the God, if you think, or service to the other people, or It's like a service rather than you are leading them for something. Because you don't need anything, because you understand that kind of thing is available for people to look at it. If you solely depend on the technology, and imagine technology is going to solve all the problems, that may be not needed also. It can do that, probably it will develop into that, where this augmented intelligence, I call it, is really doing a lot of things very well, but it cannot feel, it cannot understand humans' inner despair, inner unhappiness, inner why people are addicted, why people are having so much misery in their life, in their relationship. That is all inner, right? Our own thing. So let us understand ourselves better so that we can use the technological tools that are coming up. Wonderful. I'm also watching the what is the concern about this artificial intelligence, what it can do, and why Sam Altman and other people went to the Congress and asked them to regulate us. Please don't allow everybody to do whatever it is and all that. So there are a lot of concerns how it can be really harmful to us in wrong hands, But it has the potential to really democratize a lot of things: data, access, and knowledge, and understanding about skills and mentorship. All those things can be dramatically improved. That is there. But meanwhile, are we going to forget our human being part? Which you have been doing that. That's what I deal with when I deal with this burnout and stress with people. That's what I deal with. They don't know how to deal with themselves. That is what we are going to focus on this, Prasad.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. So this is a daily series, I believe.
Yeah, daily series, daily series.
Continue.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can also spin different ideas, expanding our outreach as well. Since um, we have we have some other networking groups who might be interested in learning
Yeah.
about these things.
Yeah, it's important for everybody. Yeah. I need to market this too, this idea we are doing this, and invite people to come and participate. We will invite some people too, but they all have to have the time and energy and the means of talking about it. That's why I made the videos. Those videos can be seen, and then people can write to me, or they can listen to this. Lots of times, many people don't show up. Usually, 2 or 3 people will show up. Then I do the talk with their questions and all that. Even then more people see offline, and then they send their comments, whatever. So that's also fine too. That's why I never look at the audience, how many people are here. I just know that there is an audience out there for me, that they listen to them later, according to the time availability. But when they approach me with a simple personal question, then I can take it to what is relevant to them. And it's very difficult to find people who have this global citizenship, one humanity, that oneness that we have, or interconnectedness we have, or what is inside is more important than just what is having outside. Actually, having dependency on the outward things for our happiness, for our satisfaction and enjoyment, that is the, I think, modern people made the mistake. Look at it, observe it, and then it's not about leaving things, but it's about leaving attachment to those things. Examining within us, why are we attached to this? And then it becomes much more. For example, for me, entrepreneurship is about how can I do my servant leadership better? Okay, so I want to do the Sivajnana Jiva Seva, and then I'm able to do it now on this platform where many countries it will reach, many people it will reach. So I can present my ideas or inclination and understandings, then they can also think about it and examine it and go that way a little bit. The more the leaders, especially the ones that I deal with, corporate leaders, the IT leaders, the physicians and other healthcare service people, those people I reach by conversations, by they invite me for interviews, so many things I do that, right? But all of them is only one word for me: seva, service. So how can I do my service? That means I'm serving the Lord in everybody, right? When I'm doing that, how can I use these artificial tools to really augment or amplify to as many people as well, not in the sense of telling them like a marketing tool or like a something propaganda, but more like a inviting them to think, to spare some time for these kind of things, and then your entrepreneurship will be very good. And then actually what I found was the energy that is ever renewing is there with their service attitude. But when you approach is like, I'm going to help myself, I'm going to improve myself, I'm going to all of that, that is the one which is loaded with the disappointments, loaded with really uh, feeling the separation from everybody else and all that, and also doesn't make you feel good as much as you feel good when you give without expectation when you give. This is all that monks have been living, and that's why they are so unfazed about what's going on around them in terms of the materialistic wealth or all the luxuries, all the entertainments. They mean nothing to them. But here, modern entrepreneurship loaded with artificial things like all these addictions, all these pleasures, all these accumulations, and all the they are not really going to be there for a long time. But as you age, you realize that, and then once you are stationed in that, then you don't have to sacrifice everything. Only thing is, you see your attachment to those psychologically. Why do you have to have so much attachment and all that? Then a lot of things will change. For me, that is it. Seva Gnana Jiva Seva. So the living being, which is the representative of the divinity in everybody. And that means you put aside all the images, all the temporary things, and then really talk to people, for they are part of the divinity. This goes very deep in the ancient wisdom, where they say there is this divinity which is the Brahman, which is responsible for all the life, which is there in everybody, and it is at the same time transcendent and then immanent too. So we got to realize the divinity within us, and then really see the divinity everywhere too. So I'm going with that energy. That's why I don't look for how many people are coming, how many people are listening, how many people are changing. I just upon to do that. That's why I do that. Make sense, Prasad?
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you on everything that you said. Yeah.
It's a spirit of service.
The
Yeah.
society.
Yeah. It's a spirit of service.
Sorry.
Yeah, one word. It's a spirit of service.
Yeah.
That's
So,
all.
yeah. So I come across this question. What do you get out of these things?
Yeah.
You know about my personal endeavor through Suraksha, um, to steer the innovation in a different direction so that we can take care of each other.
Yeah.
Putting money part aside,
Yeah.
it's actually the um, impact accounting methodology rather than profit accounting methodology that we are on nowadays. So many people think that I lost my ability to think it through to make more money um, on whatever I am doing. They they always say this is very interesting, but they end up asking me, how do you make money out of these things? So when I say it's not about money would come and go, but this is also about ethical living and also steering our lives with our education, without correcting our own knowledge, enhanced by self-centeredness, etc., on a fear factor that we would succumb to the pressure of materialism and also the monetary benefits day in and day out. So it's a great learning curve for me also on all these fronts. Whenever my friends and any listener who is sitting in my webinars or workshops, asking
Yeah.
this kind of question. So I know it's a little bit intimidating for them, but again, in the long run, perhaps they would realize and change their
How I
habits in
would
a
argue
different
that,
way.
Prasad, I argue actually, if the planet is not there, what are you going to do with the money? So it's very practical to me that we need to work to help the planet, and also thereby we can preserve this planet for the future generation. Other people are talking about going to other planets, just staying there. I think that spending and all of that, even though I appreciate the space research and what we are finding out is all that's all wonderful, but what about the people here? What about the things that are happening? Like, for example, the corals are gone and all the oceans are heating up. Big fish are not getting the fish for their feed that they're coming short, and then a lot of whale eating human beings, all this come out because the ocean's temperature has increased, and then it's going to be difficult down the line, even for the corals to survive. That is there. So if the sea life is gone, we are gone on the this one too. So many people are distracted. Or there is one book. Why we turn our brain away from all these difficulties? That is that a survival effect. People are really ignoring them because their brain is wired to ignore them. That's an argument that has come up lately too. So all we can do is live the life that we are preaching somebody else, and also share that awareness of what is happening, and you're allowed to really express in a nice way where they can also think about it, understand, and then really their awareness is uh, awakened. So that's where it is. Otherwise they are occupied with this kind of cultural accumulation of things and getting money and all that, and they may not have had a chance to think on these lines at all, because if you are happy, satisfied, and then really contented person, even though you don't have much money, but you can discover these things. That is where the split between the materialistic accumulation for the sake of pleasure and all that, to really realizing the happiness, joy, contentment that we have within us. I always talk about this diamond within us. We don't pay attention to it. For that, you need to keep your mind quiet and then turn it inward and look at it. That is what people are not able to do because they are keeping the mind activated all the time. Whereas if you want to realize the inner riches, you got to shut down the mind rather habitually, and then that is quite possible. You don't have to be dumb, but you don't have to be ignorant, or you don't have to drug yourself. You just have to understand the mechanics of the thought and get it under control by being aware. So that is the meditation can lead to you, or mindfulness, or whatever you techniques you talk about. But the best technique is undertake the workings of the mind and then really observe them. That observer, that witness consciousness is real you. That is the one which is the seed from which all your understanding, thought, and everything comes out. So once you are in that, then this thought that makes you go out and work and accumulate a lot of skills and all that, that becomes an object. Once it becomes an object to the witness consciousness, it can be managed. It can be slowed down, then identify the thoughts, and if they are negative, make them positive. This is the conscious thought I teach about. In the entrepreneurship, don't think and then say, this is happening, I'm coming all these thoughts. No, thoughts are happening to you, so you are separate from the thought. Once you observe the thoughts, then you can manage them better. This is called pratipaksha bhavana in Sanskrit. In modern terms, it's a cognitive reframing. Spend some time on this cognitive reframing and make your thought a conscious thought, not based on past knowledge, not based on future aspirations, but here and now. Be conscious about what you are thinking. And once you have that conscious thought, then negativity falls off. And also, you are not going for something that may not give you permanent joy and fulfillment, but is within you, and you are not able to realize. That's why you're going after that. So, this is all intricate thing, but actually is only one thing. If only you know who you are. That is the question people have to spend time, and then the acquirement of this identification with our ego or personality, whatever we acquired already, that did not happen just like that. It happened from the we are born, and then after that we are given a name, and then we are identified as a male child or girl child, and then we are given a particular way to behave. We are to all those encouragements or those things happen, and they shape our egoic personality over decades. So reverse that is very, very difficult. But the people who have taken this personal inward journey, they are pretty joyful and peaceful and always stay in that what's called ananda in Sanskrit. That is the tranquil, blissful joy that they stay in there. That is always available. That's why I talk about ever renewing energy, not depleting energy, renewing energy, ever renewing energy. That means it always renews itself. So entrepreneurs really have to look at what is depleting their energy and how can they really stop those. By stopping them, they can preserve the energy and then use the energy to do that. For example, I say be in the present. That means you are not going to think of the failures that you had, but you say, okay, that was an opportunity for me to learn. That way you make the past thing not as a disappointing, not as a depleting your confidence, but more like a experience of what not to do or what to do to be victorious. So once you have that, then you can really give all the energy that you have to the present moment of what you are doing. That is what I'm saying. Process, not the goals or not the failures. Process what you are doing here and now. Focus. This is the very practical thing I'm demanding. I'm not saying go get lost in your thoughts and then bring the thought knowledge and then apply it. I'm saying in the present moment, what you are seeing, what you are doing. That's what's called flow state. So entrepreneurship can be done better in the flow state. To be in the flow state, you got to be in the awareness mode, not in the thought mode in the sense of recurring thoughts. Not that you cannot think deeply, that's all okay. What it is, after that is all done, don't go back and cycle the thoughts. That recycling the thought is what I'm talking about. Don't waste your energy on that, but be in the moment, completely focused and aware. And Ramana Maharshi said this. See, doing a job is not a big deal. It doesn't really tire you out. It's not the amount of work, but it is the intruding thoughts of that activity. Suppose you are doing some activity, stay with it. That's where the meditative awareness comes in, flow state comes in. Then you are not allowing the intruding thoughts from various different corners. That's what is the modern technology problem, social media is constant interference, right? Everybody, so many distractions. Actually, they programmed it like that to get your attention. They are throwing all these distractions to you. So you got to be intelligent about it. Suppose you are in a meeting, for example, right? I am here. I kind of make time for this because I associate a lot of importance to this. And when I'm here, I'm completely available because I have done what I have to do. If suppose I'm occupied with something, then I will tell my audience I will not be able to do, but I will do it later. But important thing is, are you paying attention to every action all day? That's where I stop. Okay, just think about it. Are you paying attention to every action that you do through the day? Or are you lost in past thoughts or future thoughts? And then you are doing it just by mechanical habit, but your real awareness is not on the job you're doing. So this is important. Quantity of work is not the problem. It is the intruding thoughts, extraneous thoughts that are coming, and we get involved, and then we lose the focus on the job we are doing, and that is where your energy is spent, and that's where you get exhausted. Otherwise, work itself is a service. Work itself gives you, like for example, I'm coming and talking here, I'm just doing my thing that I feel as a duty to really convey uh, my my thoughts and opinions and all those, but not in the sense of you got to follow it. But think about it. I'm just sharing it. When I do that, this is reinforced, and then my thought gets clear, and I'm visiting back to my altruistic thought, may say, because you don't need anything for you when you have the satisfaction and joy of inner realization of this diamond that we have. So then entrepreneurs can be in the service, can produce a lot of things, but they don't need them for their happiness. And then they can protect themselves much better. And also, they'll be able to help the deteriorating planet. The habits can be changed, and then everybody can get involved. Otherwise, we're going to focus on the things that brought us here, and then we will be blaming them rather than helping them to get out of that. So I want everybody to remember this word, what I said: Siva Gnana Jiva Seva. Shiva means that consciousness. Gnana means knowledge. The knowledge of the deeper consciousness that is within all of us, that gives us the life. Serve that. Gnana, Jiva Seva. Jiva means all living beings. Seva means service. So protect the animals, protect the plants, protect the rivers, protect the human beings, rise above the discrimination, and also all the people who are going after the things that are really temporary. Understand them, like children are going after the candy, right? And then help them, not judge them, but then give them the understanding you have. Then most of the people are intelligent, they can think for themselves. They may be confused sometimes, but then they can think for themselves. If you pose these questions, right questions, they will be thinking on their own. And out of that, there should be change within themselves. And out of that, the society will change. Not just by doing external things, that is important too, but that's not going to be. This is where I always talk about when I go to the planet. I was there the other day with the oceans getting hot. They were presenting excellent data, a lot of it. So I was telling them the fundamental thing is we need to have a revolution in the consciousness of human beings about this problem. That means they should be more aware of what we have been doing. So I quoted a movie there, David Attenborough. He wrote a book at the age of 90 years. I think he made a movie out of that too, which is on Netflix. It's called This Life on Earth, I think that's the title. And he traces from his 20 years of age, he started working for the planet, right? All the problems of the planet, and what he saw, how the life on in the sea, life on the forest, life on the microbiome, all those things, how they have really got destroyed over the several decades, and how it is going pretty rapid rate to the extent now we may not be here if we continue this behavior. So what they are doing is planning and not implementing and doing very little, but they talk a lot. But the essential thing is we need a revolution in the consciousness of the humans. This is the quote from Krishnamurti, who said this in 70s. Even then that was like that. Very few people really consider. Now more people are reacting because the turbulent weather, the fires, the floods, the so many things are happening. Look at the smoke that we have in Canada that's coming onto the northeast and the midwest and a little bit of to the south. All this, they are feeling the physical effects, but they are not paying attention to the what kind of interior we have developed to make this plant. Why do we need that fuel all the time if you really reduce your consumption? So that is where the significant change has to happen. So otherwise people are not going to be um, participating in the solution of this problem. Okay, Raj is here. Raj, you want to come up, or you have any question or comment? I will invite him if he wants to come up.
I did invite Raj, Dr. Rao.
Okay.
He didn't come up yet, so hopefully. Well, we are approaching the top of the hour. Would you like to wrap up
Yeah.
this in a minute?
Yeah, there are people on the other channels. See whether anybody wants to come up. We'll give them a choice. If they're not, I think I said what I need to say today, but is this an introduction again? I've been doing introduction for the last couple of days, But the scope of this is going to be if anybody who is an entrepreneur, they come up and they pose their question, we can make it relevant because we got to take from where their journey is, and then we'll see where we can go. I can always talk about stuff detailed, but then not everybody can understand it probably, or not interested maybe. That's all fine. Only my job is to just present my awareness, my opinions in a sharing atmosphere, not in a dictating anything for them. So yeah, we will. I think everybody is okay to just listen for today, and then we will meet again tomorrow. Okay, Prasad?
Sure. Thank you, sir. Have a great evening.
You too.